Hi, okay. I'm gonna put this right here. This is a microphone. Hello.
Oh, that's so cool.
Testing the microphone.
Very nice.
Her name is Shannon Thompson Jones. I'm Suzanne Boyd, and this is what your friends won't tell you. All right, so I'm gonna put this right here just so we can pick up some good audio from us. Okay. So today, Shannon actually had this idea, and this is brilliant because she and I went to an event that was put on by Peaceful Mind, Peaceful Life, which is run by Barb Schmidt and Michelle Maros, and they had these amazing speakers come in and speak. And it was Abby Wambach.
Yes.
It was her wife, Glennon Doyle,
yes.
and some other people who were also really good.
Yeah, they were amazing.
Yeah, but we got a copy of Abby Wambach's new book, Wolfpack, and we wanted to do an episode on just the message behind this book.
Yes, and we want Abby to know, write another book, because we're both at the end of this, hungry for more. It's just, she's really special. And I don't know, that just reminds me, there was a chapter where she was talking about how she didn't feel like, what am I without soccer? And how Glennon, her wife, wrote her the most beautiful thing about she was always the light that she brought with her to soccer, and how amazing she was. So shout out to Abby. This is a great book, and it really is true, that we are not just what we do, that it's us and who we are that we bring to what we do that can make it so amazing.
Right. She was an Olympic gold medalist on the soccer team, and she's also a Gator.
Hello.
So there's that.
That's why I love her. I knew there was a thing.
Yes,
That's the thing.
She went to UF. She was there after us.
Really?
She's younger than us, but oh well. Oh well. So tell us about the message of this book. What do you see as the overall message that you love?
Well, I love, the Wolfpack is the pack, right? So the last chapter, I think, is you're not alone. Find your pack, create your pack. So what resonates with me today definitely is just, I love my husband so much. He's a wonderful human, and I love that I have a marriage, but there is just nothing like, I was struggling a little bit driving to you today, but I was not going to let anything stop me from getting to you, because I know you're a huge part of my wolf pack, and I always feel better after I spend time with you, right? Like just hormonal stuff, but like I always feel better after I spend time with you. I always feel better after I spend time with my besties, Joanna and Cheryl and Tanya. There's so many, Ashley, there's so many of them that are in my wolf pack, that you're having a rough day and you call them and they're there, and they just feed your soul, and so she's really saying, let's look at these rules, and she's looking at the old rules between women and the new rules between women.
Yeah, and there's a part in that book that I just love where she talks about how at some point in her career she was not going to be a starter anymore, and so she was on the bench for the beginning of the game, and she was always the star and always the one that started. She was never starting on the bench, and she kind of had this aha moment, like she could go there and pout and be like,
this is ridiculous.
I should be out there. But instead, she decided that was not who she was, and that she was part of this team. And that meant that no matter what happened, she was always going to cheer on her fellow teammates. And so she was on the sidelines just going crazy when they would, score a goal or whatever. I mean, she was their biggest cheerleader, even though she was upset because she wanted to be on the field for the start. And so it was really kind of eye-opening, and I feel like that is sort of that's sort of the message of this, in that, just because someone is seems to be having more success, or seems to be doing what you wanted to do, or whatever it was, like, cheer them on. We're all women in this, and we all need to support each other
and to celebrate each other.
And to celebrate
that. I'll read the last thing. It says, her victory is your victory. Celebrate with her. Your victory is her victory. Point to her. And that is really the truth, is that as women, when anybody does something amazing, when somebody passes their bar exam and they become a female lawyer, this is great for all of us women. So to be able to support women, instead of being pouty and frustrated, well, how come I didn't, how come I failed the bar the first time I took it, or how come I'm not doing as well or have as much money? really celebrating each other, I think is so important.
Yeah. And, you know, I think in this day and age with social media, I hear this a lot from people that, oh my gosh, it looks like you're doing so amazing and you're doing everything right. And, you know, and I'm like, okay, but I'm not. Like, it might look like that on social media, but I have so many meltdowns and I have so many times when I've made huge mistakes in this whole journey. And like, you know, the fact that people, you know, want to support me and want to celebrate me makes me feel amazing. But I think it's also important that we all realize that all of us have the same struggles and all of us have the same, you know, a lot of the same issues that we're dealing with, you know, the anxiety and the mistakes that we've made, and maybe a marriage is falling apart and maybe we're just putting on a smile because that's what you have to do, but it's no one's life is perfect.
Right.
You know?
We're all in it and we have to be in it together. And I can't remember the statement. It's like comparing your life to someone's highlight reel and be like, they're so great and they're so happy. They're vacationing in Aruba. Yeah, well, they're vacationing in Aruba having hot flashes because they're in the middle of menopause and they're fighting with their husband. But yeah, they were blessed to have the opportunity to go to Aruba, which is great. But everybody has stuff and nobody's posting that stuff on their highlight reel. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like...
I really appreciate it when people do post that stuff.
I know. Mine today would be like, my son's going to college next week and I'm crying every day. Like, who wants to put that on there, right? So you just see the funny and you think, oh, you're fine, but we're all going through stuff. So supporting each other.
The other thing that comes up for me is judgment in talking about this. You know, we talked about that. I talked about this at the Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies when we did this keynote speech there, because we all do it. I mean, we all do the judgment thing, and it's so eye-opening when you find yourself in that judgment space.
Right.
That this is all about my issues, you know, or something that I'm dealing with, and I'm judging someone else, but it has to do with me.
Totally.
You know?
Absolutely. If you're squared up in the, you know, shout out to all the mean girls. If you're squared up in a corner talking badly about the girl who's on the dance floor or the way she's dressed or, you know, how fat she's gotten or whatever it is, the person with the issue is not her. It's you. It's your own inadequacy. It's your own self-loathing. It's your own, you know, just, it comes from inadequacy. We don't ever knock other people down if we're feeling good. When you're feeling good, you want to help other people. You know, nobody wants to punch somebody when they're feeling great. It's when they're feeling less than or inadequate that they, you know, they come for you. They go for other people and put them down. So, you know, definitely if you're in that judgment seat, start taking a look at yourself. Yeah. Because that's really who it's about. It's not about those other people.
You know, there's a good book by Gabby Bernstein. It's called Judgment Detox, The Judgment Detox. And it's actually really eye-opening to see, I mean, when you really catch yourself, you do it all day long. I mean, even if you do it in your head and you're not, you know, gossiping about someone, which, you know, we've all done that too, but it's interesting when you become aware of how much judgment you are doing throughout your day, you know, and it's not always out loud. It can also be in your head, you know, and I think it's a good book to kind of give you some tools and some worksheets, like it gives you little worksheets about when to know when you're judging and how to kind of stop that.
Well, you just reminded me of one of my favorite tools that was life-altering for me. It was when I went to my Imago training, and on one of the last training segments, the trainer said to us, pick a word that you hate in people, like a trait. And I wrote down entitlement. It was so easy for me. It was like, who likes entitled people? Right. They're awful. You know, entitled people are just awful. Like the person who walks in is like, do you know who I am? Right. Seat me at this table. Right. I hate entitlement. And she then said, what's great about it? And I was like, nothing is great about entitlement. Like nothing. And it was just the most powerful moment in my life, because what's great about entitlement is a way of saying, I deserve
better.
I deserve. Yeah. And I was not good at that. And so it was really life altering for me. So when you're judging somebody, well, think about, well, what's positive about that? What's positive about what they're doing? Because like you said, I love what you just said, that here I think of myself as not really a judger, but you're so right that when I'm in a grocery store and I see somebody parent, you know, my eye kind of And I would never say anything, and I would never talk bad about anybody, and I don't want to hurt anybody. But by the same token, I might think to myself, wow, that was a little rough. Boy, she really grabbed that, and so for me, it's like, well, what's good about it? Well, she understands the importance of discipline, something that I lack with my kids and could be a lot better in, so really looking at, what's good about what you're seeing in other people that you're so quick to judge. What's the positive side that you're probably lacking?
Yeah. That's really interesting.
I know.
Yeah, the entitlement thing, that's funny because when you feel like you don't deserve.
No.
And so that was your trigger.
Yeah.
And the fact that, it triggered you to see people basically say that they deserve more.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm the girl at the restaurant that's like, don't worry about me, it's fine. They're like, oh, sorry, we skipped you.
Just go in the corner over here next to the bathrooms.
Right. Versus the guy who walks in and is like, yeah, you know where I am. Can we have a table? I don't have a reservation. You know what I mean? And I'm like, ew. Yeah. But yeah, I really struggled for a long time to say what I deserve. I mean, you beat me up on my price all the time. Raise your price. I'm like,
Shannon, you have a 10-person wait list. You need to raise your prices.
I can't do it.
Okay, can everyone comment, please, and tell Shannon she needs to raise her prices. She deserves. She's working like a crazy person.
It's
all right. So, what are some other tools? I like this about judgment and how to really, how to get away. Because I think this is kind of morphed into judging, because finding your tribe and finding your wolf pack is one thing. I think it's who you feel the most energy around, right? Or the most comfortable around.
Right, safety.
But the judgment thing, that's really...
So the other couple of tools, if I can remember them, because I did when I was really, because I actually was, I remember I can hear my mother's voice right now when I was probably 16. You're so judgmental. Like, I used to be really judgmental. Right. And now my joke is like, whatever I judge, I have to live. So I'm like, I'm no thank you.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely was like very judgmental about certain things. And so there was a time that I really worked on this, and one of my amazing therapists, because I've had different therapists throughout my life, taught me about, okay, so it's something, if you're really triggered by somebody, it's something that you hate in yourself, right? That you hate in yourself, and when you see it in someone else, you're just sickened. So for me, it would be like the victim role. Right. So if I hate the victim role, then somebody's like, you don't understand how hard it is for me. And I'm like, right. But really I have a victim inside of me for sure, and come from a long line of them. So if it's something you hate in yourself, you'll be triggered and you'll hate it in someone else. And if it's something you never allow yourself, which is the entitlement thing. Yeah. So if I never take a day off work and I come in even when I'm sick as a dog, then that person that's like, I need another day. It's like, oh my gosh.
I come into work sick.
Exactly.
That's like Eric Roby.
I was going to say, hi Eric.
You just nailed Eric Roby.
I never take a vacation. I know, Eric. Why don't you take a vacation?
Right. He would always get triggered by me taking vacations, taking all of my vacation time. He's like, because he never allowed himself.
Never allowed himself to take time. So then you get really triggered by the person who allows themselves. So those are kind of the two, really good boundaries.
What about when you're on the other side of judgment? How do you deal with that?
Suzanne Boyd, don't you make me cry in this session, you little weasel. It's so painful. It's so painful. So I think what my dear friend Suzanne reminded me of today is that it's not about you. Yeah. So when people are judging you and you feel it and it's super painful, instead of going into a spin and trying to make it your own, because I think this happens a lot, right? So people project onto you their crap and judge you, and then you try to own it. Well, am I a narcissist? Am I this? Am I selfish? Was I grandiose? Do I act stuck up? Do I, and so then we try to like fit into their mold of like, oh my God, am I this thing? And so while I think it's healthy to take a minute and say, hey, so-and-so acted like I was being better than. Do I have a better than side? Am I doing that to people? Let me just check in. And once you check in and you go, gosh, that's not how I identify myself. And you can even check with your, your partner, your bestie. Hey, do you see me as that way? And they go, absolutely not. Let it go. Give it back to the other person and don't personalize it. Because that's what's so painful about judgment, is that when someone judges us, we usually can find a piece that resonates, like, oh, maybe I am that. And then we just go down the rabbit hole and spin and feel inadequate and feel broken and feel like there's something wrong with me. But oftentimes it was projected from the other person.
It's funny. I just saw Gary V, who I love, Gary Vaynerchuk, and he posted a video about this. And he said, you know, he said he just isn't affected by judgment. Like, he's not affected by other people's opinions of him. He's just not. And he hears it all day long on social media about, you know, what a tool he is and, you know, all this stuff. And it just doesn't impact him. And he said, you know, think about this. Think about your mother. You know, you think your mother is the closest person to you and knows everything about you, but really, does your mother know everything about you? There's a lot of stuff your own mother doesn't even know about you. So you have to think the people that are judging you that really know nothing about you, you know, and they, like, why would I even give them the time of day or even any kind of inkling that it bothers me? Because they don't know anything about me and they don't know where I'm coming from. So I thought that was really eye-opening that, you know, even sometimes your mother doesn't even know all the things about you.
Well, and I use Brene Brown's thing that helps me feel better is that if you're not in the arena with me, like, I am sitting here on camera with Suzanne Boyd. I have cried on tape. I have shared the deepest parts of my soul. I've shared what I've learned in therapy about myself. I've shared some of the most painful things I've ever been through. I'm in the trenches being real and genuine and vulnerable, and you're going to stand on the outside and judge? I'm not interested. Like, I love that Brene Brown says that.
If you're not in the trenches,
if you're not in the trenches, if you're not in the arena looking at your flaws, looking at yourself, looking at what you need to work on, how did you fail as a parent, how did you fail as a spouse, if you're not doing your work, please do not point fingers at me, because I'm not interested in your opinion as you're not even looking at yourself.
That's,
you know?
really,
and
that's really true.
I love that. That really helps me.
But go get Abby Wambach's new book. It's called Wolfpack. How to Come Together, Unleash Our Power, and Change the Game. It's really eye-opening. And we want to just tell Abby once again to write another book.
Please, yes.
The one thing I do love about this is if you're not a reader, then this book
it's a
quick, easy read. It will take you, it took me an evening to read it. You know, I was done with it like that night after we came back from that event.
6 months, I think it took me. I just do a little time.
I'm already on my 20th book since then.
But it's so easy and enjoyable. And once you really do get into it, you can't put it down. I mean, I picked it up yesterday and I couldn't stop. So.
And Gabby Bernstein's Judgment Detox is actually a really good book as well.
And anything by Brene Brown. She's great with her vulnerability talks and, you know.
She's really, really great. I love her. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Don't forget to go sign up for our mailing list at WYFWTY.com. And we also would love to bring the show to you guys. If you want to sponsor a show, just hit us up and let us know. You can hit us up right there on the website. And go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're up to a good number on YouTube. We're getting like popular.
8,000 it was recently on our last show. I think we hit 8,000.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
that's
watching.
Awesome.
I know.
That's awesome.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, the numbers
so
are
thank you
growing.
for your support.
Thank you
for your support. And I ran into somebody last night who was just the loveliest human, and she mentioned something from our Healthy Mothers, Healthy Babies speech and that it impacted her life. So that's really why we're doing this. So that's exciting to know.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All right. Love you, Shannon.
Love you, Suzanne.
All right. No judgment here, guys.
Nope. We're not doing it.
That's right.
We're not doing it.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.